Welcome to the University of Southampton and Computer Science Department. We spent in the past few years over £8 million to kit out our laboratories. And I want to show you now what is available here if you come to Southampton to study computer science. So in this laboratory here, which you would use as a computer science student in the first year, we have space typically for over 200 students. And that allows us now, even under social distancing conditions, to continue with our laboratory work in here. And in the first year, we take a module which is Computer Systems 1, where you learn about hardware. All our first year modules are compulsory, so everybody will learn a bit about hardware. You will receive a Raspberry Pi kit and use the equipment, the electronics equipment here, to build small circuits which you combine with a Raspberry Pi, and then learn about, for example, how to transfer an analog signal into a digital signal. And some of our students who do that don't really like it. When the magic smoke comes out, they can't debug it anymore, some component is burned through, and they rather would not touch hardware after that. If that's you, the lab is still of interest to you. I tell you more about this at the end, but it's entirely possible after the first year to choose your options in such a way that you avoid encountering hardware again. Some other students, which we have here, are actually interested in robotics and Internet of Things devices and would like to learn more about hardware. If that is you, then in the second year we have a module where we have designed in-house a small computer with a nice color display, a rotary encoder, which we build for every student that takes the module, so you can keep it at the end of the module. It has a small microcontroller inside that's very different from a Raspberry Pi. It has no operating system. Initially, when you program the system and you make a mistake, it cannot give you any error messages. There's nothing there to give you an error message. We call this bare metal programming. And step by step, you build up your own operating system using file system with the SD card. You can use the audio output. You learn how to drive the graphics display here and learn real-time programming, scheduling, and so on to build your own operating system. And at the last 2 weeks of that module, you have the opportunity to make use of that operating system to build whatever you like. So it's a little project, mini project, you know. And typically the students build things like games from the 8-bit computer time, like the Space Invaders game here. As an electronics and computer science department, we have some unique opportunities here and really exciting laboratories for our computer science students. For example, in cybersecurity, we are licensed to run our own mobile phone network, and we can give you the opportunity to learn about the security of mobile phone networks hands-on here in a really good laboratory. And overall, the opportunity to learn as a computer science student about hardware might very well lead later to a job for you, because in many products, nowadays, a large number of small computers are all over the place, which the consumer often doesn't even know about. For example, a modern car, depending how fancy it is, might have between 60 and 100 small computers all over the place. All of them need software, all of them need to be programmed. And that might be an opportunity for you later when you look for a career. Another aspect which I wanted to tell you about in this laboratory is in case you don't like hardware. And this whole laboratory is equipped with very fancy graphics cards, which we don't even use here in the lab directly, but they're online available for you 24/7 if you want to use them for deep learning experiments, maybe on image databases or video. So we spent £250,000 on graphics cards because for our computer science students, this is currently a very popular topic to use machine learning on images and play with deep neural networks. Welcome to our what we call the social laboratory for computer scientists. So in contrast to the electronics laboratory, which is a teaching laboratory, this is a space not used for teaching, but for you to work on your courseworks and also maybe some competitions like hackathons also. So here we have a range of different equipment. So for example, you might prefer a vertical monitor for the code you work on to have a good overview here. And under normal conditions, the laboratory would be, of course, different. So when you look here, you see that we usually allow our students to eat in our laboratories, but this is currently not possible. We hope it will be soon possible again. When we go over here, we can see a bit more the size of the laboratory, which allows us also to work under social distancing conditions and provide you still some space. So whether you want to work with our equipment, which is very well updated and on the newest technical level, or whether you want to use your own hardware, which many of our students like to do. So they bring their laptop in, we provide you access points here, ports, and the possibility to use the screen connections here, also with your own hardware. Under usual conditions, our lab was equipped to give you a lot of social interaction space, because important for computer scientists is not only the hardware, but also the possibility to interact. And now, just like in the workplaces, we learn more and more how much we can do of that in the virtual space. So you'll see here, we have different displays, curved monitors, and straight monitors. And we also have different operating systems. So you have machines available running under Windows and other machines available running under OS X, and also here in the lab machines running under Linux. And the same will be true for the modules you take, no matter what operating system you prefer. In general, everything is taught cross-platform. We also have the possibility to use remote access to resources. So you have virtual machines you can access here. You can access machines in the laboratory from the outside. And in general, if you need computing resources for your projects, you should be well-resourced in our place. So in addition to the possibility of socially interacting with good hardware, is of course also very important that you get help if you have problems, whether that might be something like how to install your software on your own computer, or help with some coursework you currently are stuck with, or some technical problem because the machine doesn't work the way you expect it to work. So we have a help desk here, typically staffed by a combination of people which are very well versed in our computer system, so from our computer services, and also former students from our modules. So quite likely they know something about the coursework. You currently need a few hints of how to get it to work. And so you have access here to this help desk during the daytime hours. And if we look over here, you can see the scale of our laboratory. And if you look around the corner here, you can also see how many positions seats are currently taken out. But we can still keep the atmosphere here going of the lab, where under normal conditions you would have a real buzz before some deadlines for courseworks, for example, and the lab will be full of people active on those machines, or for example during some competitive hackathon weekend where the lab is open 24 hours, people might even with sleeping bags be in here. So that's of course not the case right now, but we hope we eventually come back to that.